welcome to a very special edition of our Afternoon Express Cook-Along. I'm Palisa Tembe, and today we're being joined by the incredibly inspirational Chief Operations Officer from McDonald's South Africa, Joanne de Wet, and her family. We'll be making lamb chops and biltong pasta, fluffy flapjacks, as well as learning how to whip up our very own homemade McD's burger. Now celebrate South African classics with Clover Classic. Stand a chance of winning classic prizes by voting for your classic music, food, hairstyle, and more. Winning is as easy as simply voting in the weekly poll. You could be winning instantly when dialing *120*2676# and casting your votes for your favorite classic South African phrase in this week's poll. You could also stand a chance of being called live on the show to participate in our That's Classic game right here on Afternoon Express, where one of you could be going home with another classic prize. So go on and make sure you vote. T's and C's apply and can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za. South Africa, we're calling on you to vote for your favorite South African classics for your chance to win weekly classic prizes. Vote for your favorite music, fashion, dance moves, and more by dialing *120*2676# for your chance to win.
Made with love by Clover.
Now, today's classic game is all about classic South African movies, which I'm sure everyone has their favorite. Our contestants today are Busisiwe Molloy and Gladys, both from Gauteng. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Hi. Now, the prizes up for grabs this week is a Serif TV. That TV will definitely come in handy to keep tuned to Afternoon Express. Now, Busisiwe, I have to find out from you, are you ready to win?
Very ready.
I love that. Gladys, now do you feel like a winner today?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, both our contestants are ready, but before we step into the ring to battle it out, we've asked our classic kids about their favorite movie heroes, superheroes, and all the famous people and the famous characters that they have come to love. Here's what they had to say.
If I had to be a famous person for a week, I would be Ariana Grande because she's my favorite singer.
My favorite superhero is Batman.
Okay.
My favorite superhero is Supergirl.
Thank you. Next.
My favorite superhero is Black Panther because of his suit and that thing where he goes like Wakanda forever and then he puts on his mask and his clothes go out.
Yeah, that's all.
It's clear to see that Kayla might take up a career in acting one day. Now, contestants, those are the kids. Kayla, Yassine, Christian, and Naledi. This is how the game works. We've asked each kid what his or her favorite classic South African movie is. I will then ask each of you to guess which one of our 4 kids said what as their answer. You each have to say the name of the kid that you chose said what. You cannot both guess the same kid. Should you both have guessed the wrong in the first round, we'll then move on to the next round to guess again. Are you ready, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah, but yes. Now, the question that we asked our kids was, what is your favorite classic South African movie? One of the kids said that Mr. Bones is their favorite classic South African movie. Contestant number 1, Busisiwe, you were drawn first, therefore you get to go first. So, Busisiwe, which one of the 4 kids, Yassine, Christian, Naledi, or Kayla, do you think said Mr. Bones is their favorite classic South African movie?
Naledi.
Okay. I see you feeling Unaleti. Is that your last and final answer?
Yes.
Okay, Busisiwe for Naleti. So Gladys, which kid are you guessing chose Mr. Bones as their classic favorite South African movie?
It's Kayla.
All right, so we've got Busisiwe for Naleti and Gladys decided to go for Kayla. Drum roll, please. Busisiwe, let's see what Naleti had to say.
My favorite South African movie is Sarafina.
Freedom is coming tomorrow. But what is not coming, unfortunately, in round 1 is a win to Busisiwe. Unfortunately, Siswam, it is not Naleti. So let's see what Gladys had to say. Oh, Gladys chose Kayla. Kayla, roll the tape.
My favorite classic South African movie is Mr. Bones.
Congratulations, Gladys. Indeed, it was Kayla who guessed Mr. Bones as their favorite classic South African movie. How does winning feel?
Oh, I feel so happy.
Now, I definitely know you are going to be tuned into SABC3, but tell me you are not missing an episode of Afternoon Express on that television.
Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. Now, Mzansi, winning is as easy as that. If you'd like a chance to participate in our next round of our That's Classic game right here on Afternoon Express, then get entering. You could be winning classic prizes for simply dialing *120 *2676# to vote in the weekly poll. And we could be calling you live on air to participate in our That's Classic game. So go on and place your votes. T's and C's apply and can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za.
Express yourself.
Greetings, Mzansi, and welcome to a very special edition of our Afternoon Express Cook-Along. I'm Palisa Tembe, and today we're being joined by an incredibly inspirational Chief Operations Officer of McDonald's South Africa. This is none other than Joanne de Wet and her beautiful family. Now, we'll be meeting her husband, Denver, and her sons, Matthew, Brent, Daniel, and Antonio, as we create a culinary family affair. We'll be making lamb chops and biltong pasta, fluffy flapjacks, as well as learning how to whip up our very own homemade MacD's burger. So please do head over over to afternoonexpress.co.za right now to get the full recipe and ingredients list so you can cook along with us at home. But for now, it is time to introduce my favorite family from McDonald's South Africa. It is Joanne de Wet and her beautiful boys. Welcome to the loft.
Thank you.
I should actually rather say at this stage, welcome back to the loft, because at this stage we are all just such a big family. So much so that I'm ready to sign those adoption papers. Joanne, thank you so much for joining us and bringing not only Denver but the sons. I mean, seeing you just grow and develop, especially through 2020, has been quite a journey. As soon as I said that, we had someone being like, listen, I'm about to dive all into those details because I want to find out from you, Matthew. I know it is your birthday as well, celebrating it. What made you just react so dramatically when I spoke about 2020 and COVID?
At the beginning of lockdown, I mainly just watched video games, and then my dad got table tennis and a dartboard for us, which we usually played in the morning. We would always compete with each other.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, Joanne, I have to find out from you, when you're not heading up the operations at McDonald's SA, you've got the mommy hat on. So
Yes.
How has it been during lockdown?
It's been an interesting experience during lockdown. I think we definitely appreciated the quality of a little bit of family time that we've had in comparison to a traditional working environment. So that, I think, was quite different to what I'm pretty much used to.
Absolutely. And for you, Denver, I mean, you would know best of all. Was Joanne able to relax during lockdown?
Good question. I think a day normally started around about 8:30 and it finished around about after 7. I think that was the latest. So between the Zoom calls and the team meetings, there was usually about 10 to 15 minutes break, which you, for example, play a game with us. Or during that time, we started with intermittent fasting.
Okay.
So I would prepare meals and she would just come rush down after 12 to have something to eat.
We were conscious that we may not be as active as normal. And it was important for us to make sure that we were conscious about what we were consuming, but at the same time, making sure that we were physically active during the entire period as well.
So I have to find out then from the gents, how did you all feel about this decision? As much as we are going to be cooking along with South Africans all at home throughout this entire episode of our Tuesday Cook Along, when it came to the kitchen and whipping it up, who is the best chef in your opinion? And how did that intermittent fasting and that diet for you and that lifestyle essentially work? Maybe from you, Brent?
I know, my mom is probably the best cook in the house. I wouldn't give it to my dad. But my mother is the best cook in the house, so yeah, I'd hand it over to her all in.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is a good mommy test. And all the mothers out there, I want to find out if you could answer the same question. If you could pick one dish that is just a resounding favorite in the household of the de Wets, what would that be?
I probably wouldn't put it onto one dish. I'll add two. So one would be the lamb chops that we'll be preparing today. The other one is just a good curry, is something that I'd probably add.
Gentlemen, is it a resounding yes? I can.
It's a resounding yes.
Antonio, why did you take so long to put up your hand? Oh, that is so cute. But I have to also go into just the family dynamics. Not only did lockdown give you an opportunity to bond as a family, whether it's in the kitchen or gaming, you also had a very good opportunity just to introspect within yourselves as an individual. And I want to find out from the boys. School was on pause. Work was on pause. So how did you all feel during those times? Were you frustrated? Were you able to find a way of release and just escape and get out of the body and enjoy life again? Daniel?
No, I thought it was fun. Brothers did their own thing. They sort of did their own thing. Everybody was sort of in their rooms, I don't know, doing their own thing. Schooling was fun because it just went online.
Yeah.
You did some of that pre-COVID as well. So that the transition was fine.
Are you very disciplined at school? And in everything that you,
yes.
Self-disciplined? Father, Denver, in terms of self-discipline, what did you experience within the boys and have you seen some growth there?
Funny enough, with my youngest, I spent most of the time with him. When we started with the online schooling, I could actually see in terms of his progress, in terms of monitoring his progress. With the others, in terms of, I would just wake them up and tell them, listen, it's time to go on online schooling. If I became bored, I would ask them in terms of, listen, about a game of table tennis. I knew it was becoming frustrating. You read about lockdown stress, so you don't want the kids to sit in the room and watch television the whole time. At least go outside and do some activities together as a family. I think that was important to just keep the sanity.
I'm so glad that they have a father like yourself within the household that's able to keep the eye on the prize and make sure that everyone's well-being is being taken care of. In terms of self-care, how important was that for you, Joanne?
I think it was important for me, but I think, kudos to Denver to make sure that I didn't lose sight of that, because I think there was a moment in time where you got so embedded in just doing work. So even though lockdown may have existed, we were still operating a business in a virtual environment. And I think Denver always just sort of reminded me and kept that, constantly elevated the consciousness around self-care, whether it was 15 minutes of up and down the staircase, whether it was the table tennis games or something that we enjoyed, just 30 seconds, or dominoes, which we probably landed up playing more than what we ever would have outside of lockdown.
Brother, let's have a one-on-one.
Okay, I'm listening.
Before all of you, all the others followed, before you got the entourage,
I had 7 years to myself.
That's what I'm talking about. How did you feel during those 7 years? Were you just completely dominating your space as the only child? And when you did hear the news about your darling brother coming along, how did that make you feel? Were you like, yes, finally, I've got a partner in crime? Or were you just like, the spotlight's gone?
Yeah, no, it was like that, a bit of that. I couldn't believe another person's coming in my life now. Why? Yeah, it's Daniel. It was Daniel, and at least he was there to help me.
Wow, Daniel, how does that sound?
Feels good, at least.
Yeah.
The answer is better than what I expected.
So wait, so what did you expect?
I bet you're going to say it was wrong, like, knowing you. That's something you'd say.
Now, Matt, when you do look at your older brothers, how inspired do you become? It is your birthday today, and I believe birthdays are a perfect moment to reflect, reset your goals, and, strategize going forward for this new year of life. So when you do see Brent, Daniel, and even Antonio, I do believe that the little ones can be inspirational too. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really good because I really do look up to them. They can be my role models at times, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So we've got a Brent, we've got a Daniel, we've got a Matthew, but then we've got an Antonio. We have got a little Casanova, I can say. I love the name. Mommy, do you want to break down the name for us and why essentially it just has a different mood and a different feel to the older three?
I think, to be very honest, I wasn't expecting to have, and I don't think we were expecting to have Antonio. Oh, wow. So the first thing that came to mind is another baby. So if you understand what Antonio means, in Italian, Antonio means baby, so that sort of came to mind. And please don't underestimate the size or the fact that he's the youngest amongst the troops, but he's a little bit of a silent dominator.
Okay, so you've got a strong personality, hey, Antonio? I love that about you. So strong. I want to find out the story about being the individual that you are. The boys have curly hair, straight hair, long hair. You decided you ain't got no hair. Why don't you have hair, my boy?
What did you do?
I cut.
What happened?
What did you put in your hair?
I put bubble gum and then
You put bubble gum in your hair. Did you fall asleep? Was it in your mouth and it fell in your hair?
Yes.
Can't remember.
You can't remember. So then what? Okay. When you're now faced with this predicament, Mama, what do you then do? Do you decide it all has to go?
So the funny thing is, he first decided it's got to go because we've got a camera in our kitchen, and Denver saw one night. I think at what time was it?
It was past 12 to 1, and I was monitoring why is somebody up so late. So I saw somebody in the kitchen standing in front of the oven trying to cut the hair. So he looked at his reflection in the oven, and then he was starting to cut his hair. And then I decided, no, something has to be done in terms of, this massive patch over here that was gone. And I started cutting his hair. Then I actually asked the eldest to do the final cut in terms of I can't cut as perfectly as this, but the eldest...
I must cut it, Moose.
Yeah? I love that. Okay, so you are coming for every single barber in the city. I love that.
That is me.
So, Dad, as much as there was a lot of fun and games during lockdown, and we will, trust me, South Africa, we will get to the games, there was also a very serious side. of lockdown, where unfortunately, one by one, the family got infected by COVID-19. So just from the self-isolation to the actual medication, taking care of yourself and making sure you bounce back to health. How did that journey look like for you, Baba?
Well, I was the first one to be infected, and I was frustrated in terms of now suddenly, after being together as a troop, now suddenly I'm in the room alone.
Yeah.
I found it frustrating. There was a sense of joy when I found out was
Very honest.
There's someone else with me in terms of, because nobody comes to you and spends time with you. It's like, there's a plague in the room, please don't enter. They leave the food outside, you have to go out to fetch the food. So when Joanne became infected, I felt, I must admit, there was a sense of joy in terms of, you with me now.
You know when they say when two become one,
This is
hey?
a very honest family.
Quite literally. So then, gentlemen, another son, was it Matthew?
Yes.
You also got COVID-19. So then, as the middle child somewhere, finding your way in this entirely big, beautiful family, how then were you able to bounce back from COVID-19?
I was always on a FaceTime with my friends, which helped me a lot, so I wasn't as bored as I would have been.
Absolutely. And quite physically, how did that feel on you? And now that you're back to your complete health, I'm sure you are counting your blessings.
Definitely counting my blessings, but I think the one thing that I found quite unique through the experience, obviously having been infected as well, is the fact that I felt fine for most of the time until I went through a stage where I was just exhausted. And I'd actually work, and then around about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, I'd say to Denver, I just want to take a rest, but then 4 hours later I'd wake up. So the one thing that was very apparent for me was a bit of exhaustion and a bit of, tight chest is what I've experienced. But I do think that, the type of activities and the fact that we don't have any underlying medical conditions really, really was beneficial for me, and I'll probably say the same to Denver and Matthew at the time as well.
Absolutely. It was amazing to bounce back in sense of getting your health back. Coming up, the DeWitt family show us the table tennis skills they mastered during lockdown.
Express yourself.
Now we are ready and geared up to play a very mean, competitive game of table tennis. So Dad, Baba, I believe you are the strongest table tennis player.
Number 1.
Number 1 in the family. So who is your competition?
Number 5. Sorry, Daniel.
So Daniel, are you ready for action?
I'll take on my dad, yeah.
Okay, well, lead the way, sir. Now, South Africa, as we all know, every family has their own rules and regulations when it comes to sporting and it comes to gaming. So let us know, how do you play table tennis in your household? I mean, Baba and Daniel, keep it fair, keep it clean. How do you play in the DeWitt household?
It's first to 11.
First to 11.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's as plain and simple as that.
Plain and simple. Well, in 3, 2, 1, start playing.
You still start?
Fun.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hopeless at table tennis. So whose point does that go to
No,
then?
we're just warming up.
As we speak about just warming up, I have to find out from Mom, there's a rule that is no cheating. No matter what, no one can cheat. So how important is not cheating, playing fair, and making sure that the winner takes home the prize?
I think equally important, because obviously that's still instilling some sort of valuing system.
Yeah.
It is definitely still a very difficult process, especially when you've got to adjudicate a tie, but very important.
Do you ever take sides, Mom?
Always.
Who's the side 2? Are you an underdog type of mom, or are you winner's number 1?
No, I'm an underdog, depending on who's the underdog.
Okay.
If it's Dad, I'm a winner takes it all.
Winner takes it all. Well, gentlemen, how's the scoreboard looking right now? I'll get it.
We'll start now. I think I've warmed up enough. At least to be sure to get 1 point at least.
Okay, I'll keep this ball.
Start.
I love this.
Okay.
It seems like you also have a bit of a pace going on when you do play. Have you now figured out your dad's rhythm?
Yeah, he's slower than me.
I know, when we speak about competitive natures, this is what we're talking about. No one is letting anyone rest here in the Afternoon Express Loft whilst we keep playing and we keep enjoying this fabulous game. Antonio, I have to come to you. Who are you? 2-0 to Baba.
To Baba, yeah.
Ooh, Baba is winning. Antonio, how do you feel about Baba winning?
Good.
3-0
You feel
Baba.
good. 3-0 to Baba. Daniel, you are on Kanda, as we like to call it in Zulu. That is absolutely 0.
3-1.
I'll give this to Dad. There we go. Let's keep
Yours.
playing. Let's keep this competitive nature going. Mom, you spoke about you spoke about, Mama, a whole bunch of games that you also play. So as we're heading into the cook-along kitchen, what are you most looking forward to playing in the kitchen? What do you want to whip up?
Whipping up a little bit of lamb chops, maybe something such as a little bit of a biltong salad.
Okay.
And then a tomato and onion type of salsa.
I'm looking forward to all of that. Now, Mzansi, as we're finishing off this very competitive game, it seems like Baba's in the lead. Please do head over to our Afternoon Express website to get the full ingredients list and recipe to be cooking along on this famous Tuesday Afternoon Express cook-along. Joanne, I want to find out, what do you have up your sleeve in the Afternoon Express kitchen?
I think a little bit of a DeWitt favorite. Please, the first disclaimer, we're not professional cooks, but a little bit of a tomato and avo salsa, a family favorite, biltong pasta. Demba will be cooking up a bit of Moroccan lamb chops, served with some sweet potato fries.
Delicious. What's the first step in whipping this up?
I think the first step for whipping this up is I'm going to start with the pasta salad, if you'd prefer. So what I would literally do, I'll just put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. See, the pan is already heated. Just a little bit of olive oil, moisten the pan a little bit. I would typically add some of my pasta at this stage. Very easy, very simple.
Okay, and that pasta was already just prepared quite normally. You boiled it, light seasoning, salt and pepper, and now you're just frying it up.
I'm just frying it up. I'll add a little bit of the light seasoning now already, because it is quite a quick recipe, so you'll see a little bit of a generous serving of salt and pepper. And just to keep it moist, I'm going to add some of the oil that we've left at the end. Can I lower the temperature?
Of course.
I'm just going to lower it a little bit. I'm going to cut up some feta cheese.
Okay, then, Mama, what do you want them to start cooking over on that other side?
I think we can start with the lamb chops. So I think for Denver, it's just to season the lamb chops with some of the Moroccan spice he's got in front of him.
Okay.
And just generally season on both sides, Denver.
So, Joanne, what is it about food and cooking and bringing the family together that's so special for you?
I think, you know what, it brings about new memories. I think, you know, when you feel good about something and it's something that we all rally around, it becomes memorable. So that's for me is important as well as a family, especially a mother with boys. I think this is that time that I use to whip up something that comes out of my hands. And it's a personal favorite from my side, which we tend to enjoy.
Now, when it comes to feeding your sons and seeing those smiles on their faces, do you always feel like you have to better yourself? You know, each recipe needs to be better than the last.
Yes, I think it's important. And I also take a feedback. You know, if it's something that they like or didn't like, you know, I take that into consideration. I do always try and find an opportunity to include a mixture of vegetables, some a little bit more exotic, similar to the tomatoes that you are cutting now.
Yes.
For the salsa. You'll see here, I have a generous serving of feta cheese as well. So the recipe is very, very simple. I'm just going to add in my pasta dish the final elements, which is a little bit of the feta, which I top it on top, and I just want to add
a little
as
green.
A final garnish. I'm just going to chop up a little bit of parsley.
Now, Dad and Chef Mo, on your side, please just give us a rundown on how the meat station is looking.
So I just want to find out from Head Chef Joanne if we have done this correctly. Is this what you intended for the lamb chops?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Got it right. It looks a little bit butchered, Mr. DeWitt. So I'm going to neaten it up. I think neatness sometimes is important for me, but I also don't want to burn the pasta, so I'm just trying to put that off at the same time.
So are we ready to get these on the grill?
Yes, maybe just brush it, Denver. Brush your skillet with a little bit of olive oil. So bring the bowl, yeah.
Yeah. And we've preheated the grill so that it gets that nice little char flavors and color on it.
I love that. Now, Chef Mo, do you want to give us a quick recap as to the meat station and how that salsa is happening on your side? I can see that you use skewers as well in the meat.
Yes, this is actually Head Chef Joanne's top tip, is skewering the meat so that you can just render the fat off of the chops. I think that's a top tip right there.
I love that.
Perfect.
Then how do you ensure that your skewers don't burn?
So we've left it in some water to ensure that you don't cause any fires on the stove top, which is much safer to do. Right?
Good tip. I've just learned something because this is the first time I've heard, because I haven't done it. So that's a good tip for me as well, Chef. So you've got the exotic tomatoes, you've added the avocado pear. Now we add a little bit of red onion. Yes.
To there, okay.
You can just add the red onion to the dish.
Yeah, and your sauce that you make, that's quite interesting.
And then I have a little bit of a Cheetos sauce. So I would blend probably only a little bit of that sweet chili with, but I would normally mix it in a separate bowl.
Right.
So I would blend some sweet chili, maybe take just the 1 spoon, so that the balsamic vinegar is not too acidic, and I'll actually drizzle in all the balsamic vinegar.
Okay.
Because I like that flavor. The boys love that flavor
it's nice and
as well.
tangy.
Nice and tangy, and then that's how I would finish it off.
Beautiful. I love that.
Well, South Africa, whilst we're putting our finishing touches on this delicious meal, it seems like our mains are just about done. Again, if you've missed any of the steps, please just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. Chef Mo, in collaboration with Joanne, have whipped up all the details, the ingredients list and recipe, so you can cook along with us. But after the break, we're making fluffy flapjacks. See you after these.
Express yourself.
famous Afternoon Express cook-along. Now, after serving up a delicious pan-fried lamb chops with biltong pasta salad, sweet potato fries, and a salsa, it's now only right that we finish off today's menu with an equally decadent flapjacks ensemble. And of course, a sweet treat requires an equally sweet sous chef, and I'm talking about sous chef Matthew. Now, birthday boy, are you ready to get us cooking?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so South Africa, just head over to our Afternoon Express website to get all the details as to how you can whip up these fluffy flapjacks along with Matthew. Now, Matthew, I believe that Uma has already established you as the pastry chef, as the one that's all things sweet treats. So what's the first step of this?
So firstly, I would put all the wet ingredients into 1 cup.
Okay.
And then now I would add my 2 eggs, just break them.
And then you put that in. So essentially, this is a simple, easy, quick recipe that everyone can try at home, essentially. Yes. I mean, Matthew, when we typically think and you make flapjacks, what goes into it? Have you just always had a sweet tooth? And then you decided, you know what, I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, I've just always had a sweet tooth, and during lockdown, baking just kept me busy.
Wow. How did you learn how to bake?
Firstly, I would always use a premix, which first helped me a lot, and then I would look at recipes online.
You know what? Online has helped all of us upskill ourselves. Joanne, when you see your son whipping it up, being such an independent thinker, an independent soul, how does that make you feel?
I think it makes me feel good, and at the same time, there's a sigh of relief because it's one less thing that I have to get involved in and do, and I think it really just mimics Matthew's sweet little nature.
Yeah, he does. He's got such a gorgeous smile. I feel like he's just always smiling, always laughing, ever jolly.
Yes, it is. I think he's been like that since birth. So always smiling, whether happy, sad, or nervous, he'll always have a smile on his face. So yes.
I love that about him. So Mama, you and I on this side, once the flapjacks are together, we're going to start decorating it. But essentially, South Africa, whatever way you want to decorate your flapjacks is up to you. We have some strawberries, we've got some mint, we've got some delicious ice cream here to put that cool touch on a delicious meal that we've already whipped up. So Baba, on your side, you're preparing the strawberries.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so in terms of the fruit that go into this, we know that right now, seasonal fruits are berries. What else could you possibly mix into this? Ubaba was like, I don't know, I am not the chef, girl. Don't do this to me. What age did you start cooking, Matthew? And maybe show up Ubaba on that side. What age did you start?
I started, I think, this year or last year, so 14, 13.
I love that. So, Mama, what kind of dish is your favorite that Matthew makes?
I think our favorite would always be flapjacks, and Matthew likes variety, he likes color, so you'll see the strawberries, the berries to complement it. And because we are a household that loves ice cream, there's always got to be some serving of ice cream on the side and a little bit of maple syrup for the 1 or 2 sweet tooth in the house as well.
I love that. When you say sweet tooth, those 1 or 2, I see Antonio being the first in line.
I think there you've pinned it perfectly. Definitely. I think the only thing we do is we do monitor it because he can be quite hyperactive, and I think that's where that vanilla flavored ice cream comes into play.
You know what? I think so many South Africans right now are like, we know some hyperactive young ones in our household. So let us know, how do you keep them busy on our social media platforms? Let's keep this conversation going throughout the show. As much as it is fun touching base with our fabulous family here, we also love to hear from you. Now, Matthew, what's the next step?
So now I mixed all my wet and dry ingredients, and now I'll just add some oil to my pan.
Enough? Okay.
Just move it around a bit.
So how important is it, number one, to have a hot pan before you start, or do you just switch it on as you go?
I just switch it on as I go.
And is it true that the first flapjack is always a flop?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Why though? Help me understand it. I've never whipped up flapjacks for myself. I'm the type to pre-make and pre-buy everything because, you know, honey in the kitchen is a little slow. So talk me through it. What makes it a flop, and how is it essential to get the perfect flapjacks every time?
I don't know how, but I just decide when it's ready.
Okay.
I just take it whenever.
You're the type to cook with the eyes?
Yes.
And I think we've also established, Matthew, I think one of the tips I picked up from you is the fact that we've also stopped having the pan being too warm.
Oh, yes.
Because we find that's when it also tends to burn. So I think that's where Matthew's judgment has sort of over time guided him through the process.
And gotten a little better. Well, Mama, I think that it's safe for us to start decorating these incredible flapjacks that Matthew prepared for us earlier. I'm looking forward to diving into this. I do not have much of a sweet tooth, but this looks so decadent, so creamy, so delicious that I'm also wanting to try it and give my, out of 10 vote. But Denver on the side there, when I know that as much as you don't have natural born daughters, and one day is one day, your sons are going to bring someone home, what are you looking forward to the most in terms of incorporating a new family member? I'm sure it's going to be spending more time with them in the kitchen.
I'll probably be spending more time with the daughter-in-laws than with my sons. I think 25 years is fairly long with them, so I'm actually looking forward to them getting married and getting out of the house and seeing new set of cooking skills. Somebody else bring something different into the family.
And Mom, how open are you to new recipes that maybe an alternative party might bring into your kitchen?
So Brent's got an alternative partner. So he's got Tamir, that's part of our family, his girlfriend, and she's cooked up, I think, 1 or 2 special recipes for us as well.
Nice.
Which I must admit I've enjoyed, and I've asked her to share with me some of her secrets and tips.
Okay, Mama, what did she make? I have to find out because some of us are still going to wedge, so we have to make good impressions on the mothers-in-law.
So she made a very simple butter chicken curry, which we all enjoyed, and then she made handmade rotis, which I'm not good at. So we actually enjoyed it.
Well, looking forward to all of that again, Mzansi. If you've been cooking along with us from the start of the show, please just head over to our Afternoon Express website and you can get the full ingredients list and recipe to be making these delicious flapjacks. Now, this menu, I think, can only go one way, and that's all the way up. But we cannot have Joanne in studio and not ask her to make something with a little MacD's heart in it. So if anyone is up for a burger, that's me. See you after the break.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Express Cook-Along. Now, for those first few weeks during the hard lockdown, we were all deprived of our favorite takeaways. including our darling McDonald's. And when Joanne de Wet, the Chief Operations Officer from McDonald's South Africa, comes to visit, trust me, we are going to put a burger on the menu. Please do head over to our Afternoon Express website to get the full details of how you can whip up your own homemade burger. Now, Joanne, you are back in the steering seat as the head chef at Afternoon Express. So when it comes to making this delicious, delectable burger, what's that first step?
So the first step is obviously making the 100% beef patties. So simulating the McDonald's mackerel recipe. This is what I've prepared for this afternoon.
Delicious.
I think you would have seen Greg made the Big Mac. Our next favorite is the mackerel. So I'll be doing the beef patty. Daniel will be assisting with some of the garnishing. I don't trust him to do the onion, so I'll cut the onion. He's better at eating. And then Brent will finish off by garnishing the burger and preparing us to actually eat.
Now, Brent, I do believe that there's a specific order in which McDonald's assemble their burger, and I do not want to get it wrong. I need to have Mama Bear proud of me at the end of this. So what does that order look like? Where do we start? I believe with the buns?
Yeah, the buns first, and then you drop of that, and then onions, pickles, lettuce, tomatoes, and then mayonnaise, and then
a whole lot of cheese.
Yeah, then cheese, yeah.
I'm loving myself some cheese. I'm loving myself all the sauces that we have. So, Ma, does this look quite iconic, quite like the McDonald's burger?
Correct. So McDonald's, the one thing that's always in our burgers, you'll always see the signature would always be a combination of mustard and ketchup. A little bit of pickle, a little bit of onion. Because we like the garnish, you'll see for the mackerel, as Brent has eloquently explained, there's tomatoes, lettuce, and cheese just to top it off for the perfect mackerel burger.
This is something easy that all of our South African viewers can try at home. If you want to whip up a homemade McDonald's burger, watch closely. So I believe that you're also putting together now the beef patties. McDonald's is legendary when it comes to the beef patties. So when you were to whip it up during that hard lockdown, what steps goes into making that beef patty?
So what I've got is I've got some ground beef, but obviously with McDonald's, we've got a specification between the combination of the 100% beef and fat content. To try and simulate that, I've added some seasoning, which is just salt and pepper. I've added a little bit of garlic. I've also included some Worcester sauce, as well as a little bit of breadcrumbs and an egg, just to bind all of the ingredients together. And you'll see I use my hands to try and mix everything together.
Okay.
Because I find that the seasoning is evenly spread if I do so.
Love that.
So that's what I would typically do at home.
Okay, and Daniel, on your side, you are doing the pickles, you are doing that garnish that I love, keeping that fresh element within that McDonald's burger. You're chopping up your gherkins and your pickles, you've got tomatoes there. Oh, Mama said, she does not trust you with the onions, so we'll have her take control in that way. But what is your favorite classic McDonald's burger?
Classic McDonald's burger? I'd probably just go for the simple Cajun chicken.
Cajun chicken. Does that mean you've got a spicy tooth?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And you are finishing off matric, and you are, putting an end to what has been a very tumultuous year, especially within the academic side of life. How are you finding it now, rounding off the year, putting that finishing touch on those final exams, and heading forth to your first year next year?
So it doesn't feel, I don't know, it feels a bit surreal that I've come to the end of my school career, but right now I still feel fine. It's not something to worry about, I guess.
Okay, he's just like me. He's the type of person who leaves off and worries later. Mama, I have to ask you the same question. What is your favorite McDonald's burger?
My favorite McDonald's burger is the one we're preparing now, which is the mackerel. I think the balance between, the bun, the beef, as well as some of the garnishing and cheese is my definition of the perfect burger.
I agree. I'm the type that loves the basic, Brent. I love that double cheeseburger that just, has all of the essentials. What's your favorite McDonald's burger?
I'd go with Daniel as well. The Cajun. No, I'm sorry. It's actually the Big Mac spicy.
Big Mac spicy. So you also got a spicy tooth.
Yeah.
So then, Ma, as much as we've all got our different burgers and our different favorites, what differentiates each burger?
I think the differentiation, the first important step for any burger is making sure that the protein and the quality of the protein is important. So whether it's a beef burger and it's 100% beef, or whether it's a chicken burger and it's 100% chicken, that is important. I think typical South African culture, some people also absolutely love their sauces. So you'll see over the past 25 years, we've even added our local flavor in the form of the McFeast burger, which has got a little bit of a barbecue sauce and flavor to it as well.
Nice. I love the fact that McDonald's has thought of everything and decided to accommodate everyone when it comes to their flavor taste profiles. So when it comes to, because going back to where we started, the assembling of the burger, how then important as you add new elements into your menu for you to keep that consistency throughout?
It's important, and I think we spend a lot of time focusing on the processes and the procedures to be able to enhance that consistency. Believe it or not, we have the exact amount of lettuce per burger. We've got the exact amount of ketchup or mustard. So everything is measured to the exact proportion so that we don't leave it up to staff to determine, what quantity of sauce is suitable based on their own personal preferences.
I love that. McDonald's thinking and having everybody's back in the kitchen. Well, South Africa, I hope that you've been cooking along with us from the top of the show, because essentially on the menu, we've got the lamb chops, we've got the pasta, we've got salsa, flapjacks, and homemade McD's burgers. It's my favorite time of the day. It's time to get eating. So South Africa, join along with me in saying, let's get eating. Joining me today, we've got Joanne de Wet and her beautiful family. Now, she is the Chief Operations Officer from McDonald's SA. And I'm loving the fact that she's brought her entire family to join in on the festivities. It is Christmas, so let's get eating, Mzansi. Mom, as you're just preparing your plate, essentially, I want to find out from you, it is Matthew's birthday. So when you were giving birth on that beautiful day, how did that feel, seeing this wonderful son of yours come into the world?
I think it was a joyful experience. My mom was with me, so that was the first time where she's been present, when one of the boys had been born. So pleasant experience, very, very happy child. The one thing that stands out is that smiling face.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Someone else who wasn't able to make it when Matthew was born on the 8th. We've got someone here with a little surprise to make up for the fact that he might not have been there to serenade Matthew. Take it away.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Matthew. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, man.
Lucas having to serenade the de Wet family with an incredible rendition of the Happy Birthday song. Thank you so much for joining us for that incredible surprise.
Thank you.
Do you have any? Matthew, now what's your one birthday wish before you blow out your candles?
I don't even know.
Money, prosperity, happiness, wealth, all of the above?
Yes.
And on that note, you can blow away. Congratulations on a brand new year of life. Now, Antonio, yes, I love the fact that you're backing your brother like that.
Go, Tony.
And on that note, Antonio seems like such a character, but something that he takes pride in is his country. So much so, he decided to wear it on his back. Antonio, do you want to show off your fashion for us? And on that South African local and liquor note, thank you so much, Baba, for bringing your incredible family with us. And of course, to all of the boys, shout out to you, Mama. All the best with McDonald's family, and send Greg our love.
Thank you, will do.
Now, Mzansi, as we get eating, thank you so much for tuning in, making my day every day by watching Afternoon Express. But do catch us again tomorrow for another Wednesday edition of the show. Good night, stay safe, and happy eating. Goodbye. Clover celebrates spring with exciting giveaways. Look out for selected Clover products in store to stand a chance to win. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.